Hello, everyone. This is a presentation titled An Introduction to Crime Narratives. And the point is to delve into the world of crime narratives in literature before we start to read the works of Edgar Allan Poe and Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. What are crime narratives? If we can understand exactly what crime narratives are and how we can differentiate from other types of narratives, it will go a long way into understanding why we would spend a whole course reading this particular genre of novel. In literature, crime narratives are stories that revolve around criminal activities, investigations, and their consequences. They've held a significant place in our literature for many, many years due to their enduring appeal and the captivating mysteries they present. Crime does go across genres. We can see crime narratives in literature, as we are going to be reading, but also in film and drama. It is a very interesting way to keep an audience excited and involved. Crime narratives are also known to go across time periods, and I say from Shakespeare to CSI, because CSI is obviously a crime narrative type of TV show. But Shakespeare was the one who first said murder most foul in Hamlet. But is Hamlet a play that's a crime narrative? I'm hoping that by the end of this presentation, you'll have enough of a definition to make that determination. Also, I just want to state the obvious in saying that the popularity of crime narratives continues to grow even as the genre expands to include more and more different types of crimes. So, what does a narrative require to become a crime narrative? Crime narratives consist of several key elements that shape their structure and intrigue. First, we have the crime itself, the central events that sets the plot in motion. Then there's the detective or the investigator or the protagonist who tries to solve the mystery. Clues, of course, play a vital role in helping the detective to solve the mystery, serving as pieces of evidence that guide that person toward the truth of who created the crime. There are suspects, there are characters with motives and potential involvement who may or may not have been involved in the actual commission of the crime, and all of these things add depth to the story. And finally, there's the resolution that comes when the truth is unveiled and the mystery is solved. Edgar Allan Poe, an American writer, is among the pioneers of crime narratives. Poe stands out for many reasons, and his short story, The Murders in the Rue Morgue, is considered one of the first detective stories. In this tale, C. Auguste Dupin, an early literary detective who uses logical detection and deduction to solve this mysterious case, is introduced to readers by his silent partner, who's never named, but who narrates the stories. Poe's impact on the crime genre continues to influence writers to this day, and Poe himself is a very interesting character. He had a reputation while he was alive as being somebody who is strange at best. He wrote the poem The Raven, which brought him fame and some fortune, but his first-person narratives made him the object of a lot of scrutiny because people thought that he was actually writing from his own experience rather than from his imagination. And so a lot of the things that he wrote were attributed to his actual experience, which is not true. He was writing fiction. However, his death continues to be an unsolved mystery in and of itself, as you will read in the information that I posted about Poe. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle is another writer in the world of crime narratives. His creation, Sherlock Holmes, is one of the most well-known and most reiterated detectives of all time. Sherlock Holmes is a brilliant detective who is addicted to anything from opioids to cocaine, depending on which iteration you take. He's accompanied by his loyal friend, John Watson, and their adventures, as recounted by Arthur Conan Doyle in the Sherlock Holmes series, showcase Holmes's use of detective reasoning and scientific methods to crack complex cases. The history of technology that I've been pushing in week 1 is instructive here. The things Sherlock Holmes is able to do with deduction and scientific methods would not have been possible a century or even half a century earlier. The themes in crime narratives often explore or include, of course, good and evil as a recurring motif, reflecting the moral conflict in the core of most criminal activities. Justice, too, is prevalent as a theme, and the resolution frequently involves bringing culprits to justice. Psychology takes center stage, providing insights into the motives and minds of criminals. And I just want to give you a sidebar here. Psychology was started with Sigmund Freud. Poe was writing in 1850. Sigmund Freud didn't start studying psychology until 1890. So who came first here? Did the observations of writers like Poe and others influence Freud? That's a question that I'm just going to leave hanging, because the history of technology and understanding of the human mind is very instructive in crime narratives. Finally, suspense is just something that I need to put in here, because when skillfully used, suspense builds tension and keeps readers engaged. And the suspense aspect of the crime narrative may be one of the most enduring things about this genre that keeps making it more and more popular. How have crime narratives evolved over time? From the classic whodunits that challenge readers to solve a mystery alongside the detective to the modern psychological thrillers that go deep into the complexity of the human psyche, the crime narrative has evolved over time and adapted and become subverted into other traditional tropes, creating a rich interweaving of narrative possibilities. The modern twists and turns, the use of technologies now that weren't used before, all add to the depth and complexity of crime narratives as they evolve. And the last question on this slide about the cultural impacts is another one that I just want to leave you thinking about as you start reading the works of Poe and Conan Doyle and the others that we will be reading this semester. Clearly, the crime narrative has had an impact on popular culture. The influence of this type of narrative extends beyond books into film and television adaptations that bring the stories to life, allowing us to experience the intrigue visually and viscerally. Crime podcasts and documentaries capitalize on our fiction with true crime, while video games and interactive mysteries let us become the detectives, solving the puzzles and uncovering the secrets. So, why do we study crime narratives at all? Why do crime narratives qualify as literature? There is an inherent value to studying this particular genre of narrative. These narratives provide insights into human nature and morality, allowing readers to explore complex ethical dilemmas. They shed light on social and societal issues and questions of justice, sparking discussions on how we perceive and address wrongdoing. Additionally, analyzing these types of stories develops critical thinking and analytic skills, especially in a place like John Jay, where so many graduates are going to be going into fields of psychology and criminal justice and law enforcement. This is a great place to start thinking about the larger issues that you'll all be dealing with. So in conclusion, I'm sort of at the 10-minute mark here. It's almost as long as I wanted to go. Crime narratives in literature have captivated readers for generations. Authors like Poe and Conan Doyle have shaped the genre and the way the stories continue to influence our culture. While we read Poe and we read Conan Doyle, please remember the elements, themes, narratives, and tropes covered in this presentation. When you write about literature, use the language that I've used here. Make sure you define your terms and refer to the elements covered in this discussion. I will also continue to invite you to use material from your other classes to influence the way you talk about the crimes that we will be reading about in this semester. Thank you all for listening. There will be a quiz posted with this that is intended to sort of reinforce the main points that I'm making here.